morning.
Good morning.
Why are you so low?
I'm so
Hi.
tall today. Look
Are
at
you?
me.
Oh, well, let's make you shorter.
Really? I'm still taller.
No,
I've grown overnight.
there you go. Well, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 8THIRSTY. I'm Jess.
I'm Sam.
And we may have some new viewers out there, Samantha.
Do we?
Well, we've been chatting to lots of people, and these people say to us,
Whoa.
do you have something a little for the ladies? And we say, well, actually, we do. We have a little chat where we talk about the Bible. So if you're new out there watching us today, welcome. And
Say hi.
Yeah.
Please. I love to know everybody's name. Do you know,
especially the German ones.
I met 2 Germans yesterday. I forgot to ask them what their names were, though.
Samantha, it's like, now we don't believe in this whole weird manifestation thing, but we do believe in prayer. And I think you must be praying, God, send me some Germans, because you're really meeting a lot of Germans.
Yeah. And I met 2 people from the UK yesterday as well, who I said, whereabouts do you live? And they said, oh, you wouldn't know it. It's in the middle of nowhere, not famous for nothing. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, my daughter lives in Canterbury. Is it anywhere near there? And they're like, oh, no. I said, well, like, what is it famous for? Like, tell me, like, is it famous for dairy? Is it famous for making steel? Because that's all I know that they do over there.
Oh, wow.
And they said, no. The only thing you'd know is there's a comedian who's not very well known. His name's James Acaster.
Okay. And do you know
I
him?
said, yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Samantha.
Yeah, I know him. And they're like, oh, wow. That's where they're from. I still don't know where they're from.
But where he's from.
Where he's from.
Wow. And did they really talk like that?
Not really.
Oh. You did, though, when you spoke to them.
No, I didn't. I held back. But that is what
I love accents.
Me too.
So very much. And I didn't realise that I do actually start talking like the people I'm talking to
It's
often.
fun.
And I know there's a few people out there that do that too, so we're not alone.
I think people say it's an empathetic thing. It's like when someone sneezes and you sneeze.
Oh,
That means you're empathetic, apparently.
is that right?
Yeah.
But what about if you're
If you
so
don't sneeze,
excited?
you're mean.
Oh, I mean, like
No,
if
it's
you're
not
so
sneezing,
excited.
actually. It's yawning. It's yawning.
I was going to say, I've never sneezed with someone else sneezing.
No, it's yawning.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll often yawn at the same time.
Sometimes Jasper and I would yawn at the same time when we were driving back and forth to Gympie Town.
Well, that's because you were tired, so that makes sense too.
Might have been that as well. Let's read Proverbs 22.
I wonder if there's an accent in here.
Well, you can make it one if you want.
A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
Okay, is that something European?
I'm not sure. I've never been there, so I wouldn't know. Okay, we'll just try it in the normal voice, which probably isn't so normal for everybody out there.
No.
Okay, verse 1 of chapter 22. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favour rather than silver and gold.
The rich and poor meet together. The Lord is the maker of them all.
A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished.
By humility and fear of the Lord. Oh, and the fear, of the Lord are riches and honour and life.
I feel like we need to stop there, but we have to keep going.
We do.
Thorns and snares are in the way of the froward. He that doth keep his soul shall be far from them.
Classic. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender.
He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, and the rod of his anger shall fail.
He that hath a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth of his bread to the poor.
Cast out the scorner, and contention shall go out. Yea, strife and reproach shall cease.
He that loveth pureness of heart, for the grace of his lips, the king shall be his friend.
The eyes of the Lord preserve knowledge, and he overthroweth the words of the transgressor.
The slothful man saith, there is a lion without, I shall be slain in the streets.
The mouth of a strange woman is a deep pit. He that is abhorred of the Lord shall fall therein.
Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want.
Bow down thine ear, and hear the words of the wise, and apply thine heart unto my knowledge.
For it is a pleasant thing if thou keep them within thee. They shall withal be fitted in thy lips.
That thy trust may be in the Lord. I have made known to thee this day, even to thee.
Have not I written to thee excellent things in counsels and knowledge?
That I might make thee known. No, hang on. That I might make thee know the certainty of the words of truth, that thou mightest answer the words of truth to them that send unto thee.
Rob not the poor, because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate.
For the Lord will plead their cause, and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them.
Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go.
Lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul.
Be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts.
If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee?
Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set.
Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. I felt a bit tongue-tied in some of that.
There's a lot of tongue exercise involved in reading Proverbs.
Yes, there is.
The start of it, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
Choose that.
How important is that? I was talking to someone about that yesterday. How important it is to be thought well of. Mm-hmm. It's probably a pride thing. So it isn't that great, really. But it's a good thing to aim for.
Well, it's rather to be chosen than great riches.
That's right.
So if you're going to go for one of them, choose to have integrity, which will give you a good name. And loving favour rather than silver and gold.
I mean, you don't practice integrity in order to have a good name, but it is just one of the fruits of having a good name.
That's right. When your focus is on having a good name for the Lord's sake, that the word of God might not be blasphemed, or something to that extent.
That is always something I've been very sensitive to, though. Being people who think something bad about me, it really does get to me.
Always? Your whole life?
It always has, yeah.
Do you think that's...
I don't like it because I mean, it's probably human just to think that's not justified. I'm not a bad person.
Well, I was just going to say, is it in all of us to want...
I don't know.
To yearn for that more than... It probably is put into us more actually to have a good name than to have riches. I mean, I certainly would rather that.
Oh, well, I don't know whether... I mean, yes, you know what? Even before I was a Christian, I would have chosen to have a good name rather than great riches.
Like, if you're going to be found as to be someone in a business that's been given a promotion and you're getting a lot of money, but in order to have that promotion, your boss has told you you're going to have to compromise your integrity, what are you going to choose?
Yes, that's right. That is true. And in fact, I have left jobs because I didn't want to compromise my integrity.
Good one for you.
Thank you.
That was
I'll take my riches in heaven.
That's right. So the Lord made the rich and the poor, and they meet together. That's like saying the Lord reigns on the just and the unjust. We're all in this world together, and those that don't yet believe in God, that doesn't mean that he didn't make them.
Truth.
Like, he made us all. And it's saying here rich and poor, but I'm also adding that it doesn't matter what you believe. He still made you, whether you believe in him or not.
And you're still going to be standing before him whether you believe in him or not.
And that's an interesting conversation. And you see it coming up quite a lot when we meet people at the market. People come up and, you know, some of us have got T-shirts that'll say, ask me about Jesus. And once they start chatting, they're like, well, I don't believe. What makes you think you're right? We're like, well, it's not about us being right. Let God be true and every man a liar. So you point it back to God. But when you say to them, he made you too. You're going to stand before him too, whether you believe he's true or not. He knows you're real.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite confronting.
Yeah.
That there is actually an absolute truth. And this is what Proverbs is actually telling us. There is a wise way to run your race, and there's a foolish way to run your race.
Yeah.
And the truth eventually will always come out. There is absolute truth in this life.
Amen.
What else do you got?
I think this is the famous verse, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. What do you say about that, Jess?
I say my view on how rich that verse is has changed. It's a lot richer than I once thought.
Tell us what you used to think.
Okay, so I used to think, well, my parents are training me up in the way that I should go. They're teaching me the ways of God. They're getting me around godly people. They're still telling me I have to make my own choice. So they're telling me I have free will, but they're putting into me the things of the Lord. And I'm so grateful for that. It is the best upbringing. I'm seeing, though, now also the other side of it. If you don't train your child up under God, you're still training them. You're training them up in another way that they should go.
Or they will go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But you also do see, for instance, kids of pastors that you know they're saved and they go away when they're old. They do depart.
Yeah.
You know, you see lots of people that were brought up a certain way and they depart from it.
Yeah.
And so you go, well, that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But when you understand, maybe you can say the next bit. Do you know what I'm going to say next?
Well, what I would say next is, I always thought the same as you. Train up a child in the way he should go. This is talking about if you train them up biblically and in a godly way, they'll stay that way. But what I've now come to understand is there's also an opposite side to that. So however it is that you're training up your child, that is the way that they will go, whether you're training them up in a godly way or whether you're training them up in an ungodly way or even a semi-godly way.
When you train them up in the way they should go, to the strictness that God is actually teaching you to train them up, and this is the next level of it, when you're actually so strict with them, if you think back to the law, they were taught, if you do this, you're going to be stoned.
Yeah.
And maybe our whole family will be stoned.
Yeah.
Like, it was
thrown out of the
pretty
synagogue.
harsh.
That's harsh too.
We were chatting to a lady at the market the other day and she said, my God's not a God of wrath. I said, well, are we serving the same God? She's like, the God of the Bible. I was like, well, God sent the flood to Noah. She's like, no, the flood just came and God just saved Noah because he was a righteous man. And she told me about this book, and you know what? Don't ever read a book and put that above God's word. It'll mess you up.
My gosh.
She can't rectify so many parts in the Bible where God is just, and so his wrath is poured out.
Wow.
Sodom and Gomorrah, when the angel of death comes over, Egypt, and the Israelites put the blood of the lamb over their doorposts and it flies past but kills every other household, the eldest born in that household. That is a God of wrath. That's a God of judgment. That is our God that we serve. Yep. He's just.
Yes.
There is a payment for sins and transgressions and for evil. But he's also a God of incredible grace. So she just wants to follow the God that's full of love and told us that everybody is a child of God. That's not true. That's not what God says. A man has taught her that somewhere in a book or something. Evil. But when we train up a child in the way they should go, teaching them how to read the Bible, teaching them, yes, they're going to stand before Christ at the judgment seat on their own. Like, they're going to give an account for their life.
Yep.
Teaching them the structure of the basics of Christianity and to fear God, then they won't depart. Give them the good, hard, like we talk later about the rod. How much is it talked about?
That's coming up. It's in the next verse. Oh, no, sorry, verse 8.
Yeah.
He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, and the rod of his anger. Oh, that's not about the children. The rod. It's 15. Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
Isn't that incredible? Foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him.
And it doesn't mean necessarily a rod, like being beaten with a rod.
It's discipline.
I think that same word is what's used for being in the bit of an animal and directing them.
Yeah.
Correcting them if they want to run over here and eat some grass. You pull them back using the rod.
Yeah.
Foolishness is bound. How, when we were children, life is foolishness, isn't it?
You're always learning, always. In the next chapter, we're going to touch more on this, so I'm sure that we'll pick that up again. I love this great, amazing sound advice. Now, you might be able to find it while I read it. Cast out the scorner. Okay, so this is a how-to instruction book, really. Equals contention and strife goes. Hang on, contention goes. Strife and reproach shall cease. So if you've got contention, strife, and reproach in your home, is there a scorner in the midst?
Wow.
Even in our own hearts, like if we're feeling contention, strife, reproach, are we scoffing or scorning?
Verse 10 for the people out there. Cast out the scorner and contention shall go out. Yes, that's good. That's good, Jess. If you've got strife and reproach, look for a scorner and cast them out.
Might be an attitude in yourself.
Oh.
Wow. It can be. I certainly read this and go, oh.
What is scorn?
Well, is it to scorn on someone? Is it like to scoff at them and to
Yes.
Make light of something and have such a strong opinion about it?
It's a negative. It's a negative thing.
Yeah. So that's just talking about what the essence of a scorner is. Almost they just naturally are going to continue to bring out that kind of fruit.
Yeah.
Bountiful eyes bless and give to the poor. But if you sow iniquity, you're going to reap vanity.
Yeah, and that's not vanity as in, I like looking at myself in the mirror. That's vanity, which means pointlessness.
All is vanity.
Yeah.
Vanity of vanities. Ecclesiastes. Somewhere in there. There's a lot. I'm seeing pleasant, prudent, wise. There's some beautiful words. The pureness of heart.
And there's a lot in there about how to treat the poor.
Yeah.
As well. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich. What do you think that means? Giveth to the rich.
Well, if you're looking, and it's putting the rich people in like a, it's not talking about having lots. It's talking about having lots and holding on to it, I think, when he's talking about being rich here. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, obviously that's not a good thing. And he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. If you're giving to the rich to like just
bribe and curry favour with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you might be doing it to get a good name with them.
Yeah.
But that's not real integrity.
Yeah.
To be seen to be doing a good thing. But then we get to verse 17.
Bow down thine ear and hear the words of the wise. And apply thine heart unto my knowledge. For it's a pleasant thing if thou keep them within thee. They shall withal be fitted in thy lips. So much we've learned about the lips and how you can have silly foolishness in them. Imagine fitting your lips out with wisdom. You know what? You can go and get Botox in your lips now. But imagine if you went in and said, I'll just be fitted with wisdom.
You get another high five.
That'd be much more useful, wouldn't it?
Maybe we should put a lip balm out that's called Fit to Wisdom. Or something like that.
Wisdom fitted, yeah. We'll work on that. We'll have a little marketing meeting.
Incredible the wording that God uses for that. With all be fitted in that lips. That means it fits. The wisdom sticks because it fits.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Rob not the poor because he's poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate.
Yeah. And how about taking... Oh, we should point out 24. I learnt from this just on Sunday.
Tell me.
You read the verse and I'll tell you the story.
Make no friendship with an angry man. Oh, and with a furious man thou shalt not go.
In short, without giving much detail, there was an angry man yelling at one of my kids for something, but he was drunk. He was a drunk man and he was getting angry about something that he really, in his sound mind, wouldn't have got so angry about. And I wanted to go up because I have this little thing inside me that I'm like, hang on, I need to find out why you said that. You flipped a few words there that you shouldn't have flipped.
Or to correct. I didn't know for sure who he was speaking to.
Yeah.
I thought he might have been speaking to himself.
No.
Or to the dog.
No. He was speaking to one of the kids. But when we have talked about, being drunk and that it's not a good thing. That's what the word of God tells us.
Pointless to deal with him.
This is what this verse is saying.
Yeah.
See, I was going to go, I look for the potential in someone. That's just something I've always done. And I think, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
You don't have to speak like that. Let me get alongside you and ask you, do you actually understand what happened there? And are you okay? And, it's a teaching moment also for the kids, to understand you don't have to just run away from uncomfortable situations. However, here it's saying maybe you should.
But there are other verses as well that we've gone through already that are telling us not to be mucking around with fools. Like there's no point sometimes talking to people who are either fools permanently or for a couple of hours while they've been drinking too much.
Yeah, that's right. No, I wanted to say it's time to put down the drink, mate, and let's have a talk about who Jesus Christ actually is. That's what I wanted to say.
I don't think he would have been receptive to that.
No, but I do feel for people because that could have been me.
Well,
like I could have been brought up in a home where that was okay to behave like that, and then you think that the local hangout at a pub that's a cool place to make friends.
Well, let's get him another day at opening time, not at halfway through the day.
When he's not so angry. But we're praying for that guy and the people that were with him because they didn't seem to blink an eyelid.
That's what made me think that he hadn't said anything that was weird because if they had gone, oh, mate, then that would have confirmed...
They knew not to mess with an angry man. Maybe they'd read that proverb.
That's what makes me still think that he was like, I think he was talking to the dog because the dog was flipping its own toy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dog at the start was flipping its own toy. You might not have seen it.
I see what you mean. And this is where only God knows the truth because we both sort of saw the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think the crux of it is... It's about my behaviour. It's not about trying
That's true.
to behave a certain way to maybe help or get alongside someone else, especially someone I don't even know. I need to think about my behaviour and whether it's appropriate. And that was a good lesson for me. Just pray for the man and regardless of the situation, just let it be. Always learning.
Sometimes. That is wisdom to walk away in that situation.
Yeah. Don't take the bed of someone that needs a bed. Why should he take away thy bed?
If thou hast nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee?
So if you have nothing to pay someone back...
Let's continue on from verse 26. Don't be shaking hands, being like, mate... We'll agree on that.
Yeah.
But sureties for debts is one that we've had a lot in the last few chapters as well that we haven't really spoken about.
And back in
sureties.
Paul's epistles, we talked about it as well.
Oh, so that's like when you say, it's like the modern day when someone will go guarantor for you on a loan. So I don't really have enough assets or income to justify my $1 million loan. So Jess, will you go guarantor for me? Which means if I can't pay my loan, you'll pay it.
Yeah.
So this is saying to not do that.
Yeah.
So neither
just
a
give it
borrower
for
nor
free.
a lender be.
Yeah, which means just give it for free. And if for some reason you decided to give it back, what a surprise.
Yeah.
But that is an incredible big thing. I'm sure it has happened since the beginning of time.
Well, not with God's approval.
No. Amazing.
If you have nothing to pay, why should he take away thy bed from under thee? So, if I can't pay my loan, why should the bank come and take your stuff away? Doesn't make sense, actually. God makes sense.
True. Well, there's a lot, and I'm sure that you guys have incredible notes out there. Be diligent in your own business. That was the last point I got.
Yeah, if you're diligent in your own business, and previous chapters we've been talking about having correct balances and not having diverse weights. Mm-hmm. Don't mess around with things and try to get a little bit more money from people dishonestly.
Yeah.
That would be mean men, people who are like scraping and doing silly things in business. Diligent men will stand before kings, not before all these
mean men
who maybe are making all the money.
Yeah.
In front of the...
And that's where we come back to. It's not about the riches, guys.
Whoa.
It's about having a good name and also the favour. What is it?
Loving favour rather than silver and gold.
Yeah.
Let's be aiming for that.
High five to you all out there.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us for Proverbs 22.
I learnt so much, and I'm about to learn more in the next few chapters. I just know it.
See you tomorrow.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye. Gee.